In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front window regulator without the motor on this Lexus IS250. This is located inside of your door. We'll have to take the panel off for this and then transfer the motor over. Let's get started. Up by the door handle, there's a panel or a little trim piece that covers one of the mounting screws. So with a small screwdriver, pry it out from the backside, and with a Phillips head screwdriver, remove that screw. Let's remove the master switch panel. Use a plastic trim tool, gently pry it up from the front and then the rear so we can get access to the connector. If you flip it over, you can unplug the two connectors, press on the locking tab and pull them away. Set the switch aside. Now with either a Phillips head screwdriver or a 10mm socket, remove the bolt, or the screw I should say, holding on the door panel support onto the door itself. Go around the perimeter of the door panel with a plastic trim tool and pop it away from the door itself so we can release the panel. Now lift it straight up and out. Okay. Let's unhook the door handle and lock indicator cable. Pull this out and unhook it. Set those aside. A little bit further down, we have a connector for the tweeter speaker. Unplug that. And a little bit further down, we have a connector for the seat memory switches. At the bottom of the door, you'll see the courtesy light. The connector can't be unplugged because it'll hit this, but if you push out on the entire lens assembly, you can take it and disconnect it once it's popped out of the door by pressing on the locking tab. You can take this out and just temporarily resecure this so you don't misplace it. Let's peel the vapor barrier off. First thing I will do is unplug the door latch switch, set it aside, and now carefully peel this away. This butyl tape is very sticky, and try not to get it on your clothes or your hair or anything like that because it is very, very difficult to clean off. As you do this, make sure you feed any wires or cables through their opening. And you want to take this off completely. The vapor barrier has this harness that goes through it. You can either unplug the entire harness and feed it through, or you can make a very small and precise cut right here, which will allow you to pull the vapor barrier out of the way, and at the end, all you need to do is just tape this back together. At the bottom of the door near the speaker, you'll see this rubber plug. Let's pop this out. This is going to be one of our access ports for unbolting the window off of the regulator. There we go. These are pretty tough, so I recommend a plastic trim tool for prying this out. Otherwise, if you slip, you'll scratch the paint with anything metal. Now let's plug the window switch in and lower the window till we can see the front bolt of the window regulator that holds the glass on through here. The other one will see through the larger opening. Plug this in, turn your ignition on, and roll the window down. Oh, right about there. Perfect. With a 10mm socket, unbolt the two mounting bolts that hold the regulator onto the window. We have one over here. There it is. And the other one right through this opening. Now what we'll do is pull the window glass away from the regulator. So you have to kind of push the regulator back while you pull up on the glass. Do this to both ends and then pull the glass up carefully, just like that. Now lift the glass up all the way, hold it there or it will fall, and we'll tape it with some painter's tape. I recommend that because it doesn't leave sticky residue behind when you take it off. This is now secured. Let's unbolt the regulator. Now there are several 10mm fasteners we have to remove. Let's start with these two over here towards the outer end of the door. Then we have these three that we need to remove. And I left this one for last on purpose because we don't have to remove it, but rather just loosen it up and then slide it right through this opening. This will help the window regulator and motor come out a little bit easier. And also, before we unbolt that last one, let's unplug the window motor. That's it. There it is. Now let's unbolt the motor from the regulator. Use a T25 torque socket and remove these three fasteners, and then of course pull the motor off. Okay. And there it is. I have the new regulator ready to go, so we can just swap it right over. If it doesn't want to line up with the groove and the bolt holes, it's most likely because the splines aren't lined up, so just try to turn the regulator a little bit. Get this in a little further, and then start the other ones. And the last one. Now snug them all up. If you're doing this by hand, at most 1/8 of a turn after they bottom out is plenty tight. This is the bolt that we didn't fully remove from the regulator. I'm just going to take it, transfer it over in the same spot on the new regulator. That way we can easily mount it. Now we can get this back on the vehicle. Take the new window regulator assembly, make sure that this bolt is towards the top, and then slide it in with the larger part first, just the same way it came out really. Lift it up. This is going to be a little more difficult to see, but once you get that little bolt hooked in, this will now allow you to pivot the whole thing so you can line up the rest of your hardware, which if you just look through, that is right there. Not only these will line up, but also the grommet for the connector. Of course, we'll leave that for later, but let's put in the rest of our bolts. We'll start all of these on. Before you tighten any of them, make sure that they all go in, because often you need to pivot this around just a little bit to get things to line up. All right, with these in, let's tighten these up. Let's plug it in. There we go. Line up this part of the regulator and put in the two mounting bolts. Snug these up. Carefully press up against the window to support it and take your tape off. And slowly bring this down, make sure it stays in its track, and of course keep a good hand on it so it doesn't slide down fast. Now when you're at the point of putting it on the regulator, you have to push the regulator behind it in order to secure it. Just like that. We'll make sure it's seated in both ends. That's perfect. Now let's bolt it on. Now put in the mounting bolts for the regulator. If you're doing this by hand, about 1/8 of a turn after it bottoms out. Same for the other one. All right. Put back the grommet that hides the other bolt. Let's put the vapor barrier back on. Slide your cables and wires through where they were supposed to go. And stick it back to the door. Plug this in. Right over here, if you wanted to, you could tape this back shut. Now let's plug this light back in. However, if you remember, we had to unclip the assembly, so we'll push it back out. Stick the wire through the door panel, reattach it, and then clip this back in. Reconnect your electrical connectors on the back of the door. Although these look similar, they can only plug into one spot. And now, of course, the cables. The green cable is going to be the door handle. And the white one, the door lock. Okay. Now take the door panel, hook it right up and over this lip of the door. All right. With everything lined up, tap the door panel in. All the push clips that are around it should snap in and kind of lock it into place. All right, let's put this screw back in. All right, reconnect your switches. And press it in. This hole needs to line up with this tab, and same in the front. If these don't line up, don't press it because they can easily break, and that should lock in. And the screw up top. Snug it up. It's only holding into plastic, so you don't want to strip that out or it won't hold on very well. And then of course the cap that hides it. And job is done.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.